No, what happened was there was, I would say, with the first Earth Day, 1970,
Oh.
there was a real change in the environmental movement. It began to focus much more strongly on the energy sector and much less on saving the whales.
Mm.
And there was a big difference. I mean, the energy sector involved trillions of dollars, the whales, not so much.
Right. Yeah.
And at that time, it was cooling, this global mean temperature, which doesn't change much. But, you know, you focus on 1 degree, a half degree, so it looks like something. And it was cooling from the 1930s. 1930s were very warm, and it was getting cooler until the 70s. And that's why they were saying, well, you know, this is going to lead to an ice age. And they focused on that for a while. And then in the 70s, and at that time, well, what do you say? You know, if you're worried about an ice age, they said, well, it'll be the sulfates emitted by coal burning because that reflects light, and the less light that we get, the colder we'll get. But then the temperature stopped cooling in the 70s and started warming. And that's when they said, well, you have to scare people with warming, and you can't use the sulfates anymore. But the scientist called Suki Manabe showed that even though CO2 doesn't do much in the way of warming, doubling it will only give you a half degree or so. But if you assumed that relative humidity stayed constant so that every time you warmed a little, you added water vapor, which is a much more important greenhouse gas, you would double the impact of CO2, which now gives you a degree, which still isn't a heck of a lot, but still it was saying you could increase it. And that's when people started saying, well, now we better find CO2. It's increased because of industrialization and so on. And that began the demonization of CO2.
Do you think there's just always people that are going to point to anything like this that's difficult to define and use it to their advantage?
Oh, yeah, and this was a particular case. You wanted to deal, you know, the energy sector is trillions of dollars. Anything you can do to overturn it, change it, replace fossil fuels, it's big bucks.
Right.
And one of the odd things, I think, in politics, I don't see it studied much, Congress can actually give away trillions of dollars. If you look at the McKinsey report on, eliminating CO2, net zero, they're saying it'll cost hundreds of trillions of dollars. Well, if you're giving out that much, you don't need that much of your politician. All you need is millions for your campaigning. And all you're asking are the recipients of people who are getting the money that you are giving them, 0.5%, 0.25%, you're golden. So that's much better than giving out 100,000 and having all of it back.
Well, the key, though, is also making it a subject that you cannot challenge. There's no room for any rational debate, and if you discuss it at all, you are now a climate change denier.
Yeah.
Which is like being an anti-vaxxer or, fill in the blank with whatever other horrible thing you could be called.
Now, that's a very interesting phenomenon. I mean, I was looking at it. On the one hand, you're told the science is settled. Thousands of the world's leading climate scientists all agree, which often makes you wonder. I mean, you went to college. How many climate scientists did you know? I mean, 1,000. But on the other hand, if you read the IPCC reports, they're pointing out, for instance, that water vapor and clouds are much bigger than CO2, and we don't understand them at all. So here you have the biggest phenomena we don't understand at all, but the science is settled. Who knows what that means?